Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur's Dilemma. My name is 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗢𝗡, and I'm your host, and I want to thank you for joining me today. Now, on this show, we're going to be having a chat with a property investor based in the UK, and he's going to be sharing his story of how he was able to build over £2.5 million as a property investment portfolio, starting as a delivery driver. Now, this is going to be an exciting interview. But before we get on to the show, I want to use this opportunity to thank every single person that has supported this channel. It's meant a lot to me, and I want to thank you guys for all your feedback, all your comments. They've really helped me improve the quality of the videos that I've been able to put out. And if this is your first time on this channel, welcome. What I do is that I have one-on-one chats with entrepreneurs and business owners from all over the world and give them an opportunity to share their story with the goal of inspiring new and upcoming entrepreneurs. So go check out the other interviews that I've done with other entrepreneurs, and if you do find value in it, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you get notified when I release a new video. It really helps me a lot, it really helps the channel a lot, and it gives me a lot of motivation to put out more videos. So enough said, let's get straight to the video. Hello, Daniel. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm fine, 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗢𝗡. How's it going?
I'm very well. I'm very well. I'm really excited that you made time to be on to get onto this show, man. I've been checking out your content, and it's been really good stuff you've been putting out there. And I've actually been checking your stuff out for a while, and I'm really impressed with so much growth that you've had over the years. So I'm really excited that you're here today.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you for for having me on your show. I can't wait to get started in the conversation.
All right, Daniel, why don't you give us a brief introduction about yourself, what you do?
Well, I'm just an ordinary guy. My name is Daniel Moses. I am a property entrepreneur, a mentor, coach, a podcaster, and also an upcoming author. Over the last 18 months, we have been able to educate a lot of individuals who are desperate to transforming or transitioning their life from where they are into achieving success. And over the last 18 months in itself, we founded a company called Property Wealth Education. And through Property Wealth Education, we've actually educated a lot of people who are looking to getting started in property strategies, such as the one that I personally used to transition from the life of being an Uber driver to where I have currently been able to build a business of over £2 million in 4 years. Wow. And and not just that, I have several businesses founded under the Property Wealth brand. And probably as we go down the line, I may be able to break them down on a step-by-step basis. So yeah, on a nutshell, that is just me. I'm just an ordinary guy who's on a mission to creating wealth, to transforming extraordinary minds, all right, to becoming extremely successally. So that is one of my major goals.
I like that. I like how you're being very humble. It's fine. One thing that I told myself that I was going to ask you immediately I got you on the show, immediately you accepted to join the show, was to ask you what is property investment like? Now I know it's buying property, but what is it that makes you different? Like, what is that? Why is it that normal people, everyday people, can get involved in this? Because before, you needed so much money to invest in property. So where does your business come in? Because now I see that you cater to normal people that are just looking for an opportunity to change their lives financially.
Well, it's a very good question. If you probably followed my journey, in 2015, I had a successful business way back in Nigeria, which is my home country where I'm from. It was really successful, and I had gone through some challenges that led me to a financial loss towards the end of 2015. And when that happened, I lost about £150,000. Now I had to relocate from Nigeria back to the UK. I've always lived here in the UK from 2004. But in 2012, I relocated back to Nigeria because England wasn't working for me anymore. I felt like, things wasn't going as planned. It wasn't what I planned. So I relocated to Nigeria and I started a business and really grew, and in 2015, I had some serious challenges. I lost about 150,000 pounds. And then I relocated back into the UK again. And when I got back, I didn't have money. For someone who has just lost a business way back in Nigeria, I went through anxiety, I went through depression, and all I could actually do was to just get any job because I've never really had any sort of job in my life. People often don't like to use this word called hustle, but the truth is that, you've got to have an hustling mindset for whatever that you do. I know a hustle comes from American language, but basically what I was hustling any type of businesses to survive. That was what I did from 2004 to 2012 when I founded my Nigerian business. So I really grew that business from selling clothes, selling cars, selling car parts, breaking cars into spare parts, and you name it. That's what I did as a Nigerian who, in the UK, or someone who migrated from Nigeria, did everything. So I literally, lost that business in Nigeria and I relocated back to the UK. And once I did, I had to get anything. So I started by being an Uber driver, being a delivery driver. From delivery driver, I went to being an Uber driver. So in 2017, I literally was scrolling through my phone and an opportunity looked at me in my face. I saw an ad through my Facebook page and I clicked on it. And that ad specifically stated, getting into property with none of your own money. For me, it sounded like a dream. It was a £70 networking event in central London, and I paid for that networking event, and I went down to that event. And upon arriving at that event, I was blown away by the information that is being shared in front of me. Two things that I realized at that point in time. Could this be a scam, or was it too good to be true? And everybody I spoke to at that time said to me, it's a scam, it doesn't work, don't listen to them, you're good the way you are, be an Uber driver, and just, life will figure its way out. So for me at that time, I discovered something I never knew that existed. When you think about property investment and you think about people investing in property, the very first thing that comes to your mind is that you need lots of money to get it started.
Yes,
exactly. I never knew I could leverage debt. I never knew I could leverage on loans. I never knew I could use credit cards to start a property, business. There are a lot of things that I did not know. So I took the bull by the horn in 2017, and I said, I am going to learn the step by step. I'm going to do whatever it takes to learn, how to become a property entrepreneur without needing lots of money. And that was my beginning, and that was how I got started. And I discovered that actually, you don't need 50 grand. You don't need 100,000 pounds. What you need is knowledge, leverage, and you need to be quick. And you need to obviously, check your risk appetite, and anything is possible. And there was a transformational shift around my mindset, which has now created the life of my dream today, or rather created the part of which I am now using the same motivation to educate others and transforming people's life.
Wow. Daniel, that is a lot, man. And you've actually said so much there. So first of all, you had the business back home in Nigeria that, was successful, but at some stage you lost kind of all the money that you had invested in that. And then you had to start all over from scratch in a different country.
Yes.
From scratch. And then you did loads of manual jobs, and then, became an Uber driver, and then you found an opportunity, and here you are today.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. That's what happened.
Geez, let me just ask now, and this is just me being very inquisitive. What kept you moving? I know you said this thing about that hustler spirit, but is that something that you've always had, or why didn't you give up? Why didn't you just say, what? This Uber driver that I've got is probably better than, it's consistent money that I can get every week or every month. What kept you going?
Well, the thing let me really break this down. So one of the things that I grew up wanting to always be better. I grew up to always wanted to be more. And I always had it inside of me that one day, probably, my name could be written in gold. You know, and that is the mentality I had. But I didn't know how. I never knew how it's going to happen. But I just had that one day I'm going to write my name in gold. It was just a mentality that I grew up with. Obviously, I grew up from a family background where everyone was an entrepreneur, but it was just enough for people to look after themselves and look after their family. So that is the sort of family that I grew up from. So when I went through challenges in 2015, this was big, massive challenges. You know, losing money, coming back home to my wife and my kids, not even knowing how I'm going to feed them the next day. You know, from losing my business in Nigeria. I just felt like if life knocks you down, you know, just get up and fight again. Give it a second shot. Give it a third. Give it even a fourth shot. I said I'm not going to quit. I would figure it out. But at that time, I didn't know how I'm going to figure it out. But I just knew it was part of a process that probably at that time in my life, I just needed to go through. And I just said to myself, no matter where this destination leads to, I would not fail and I would figure it out. So when I lost all that money, I just said, okay, not a problem. But right now I need a quick fix. The quick fix was for me to get a job. The quick fix was for me to become a delivery driver and then an Uber driver. And what really drove me, what really held me strong while I was going through the never giving up is just the mentality of no matter what the life or what you are going through in life throws at you, all right, face it, confront it with everything that you got. It will definitely lead to a beautiful destination. Even when the closest people around me at that particular time, you know, even when I was telling people very close around me, you know, this will pass. Some people felt like, you know what, there is no light at the end of the tunnel. But in between when I was going through those challenges, there were times where I really gave up and I accepted failure. You know, there were times I actually accepted failure and I felt like it's finished. This is it. But for me, when you have a bigger being inside of you, I'm a strong believer of God. You know, I turned my face to God and I said, God, if this is your will, let it be. But if it's not your will, let a door be open again. And I think because I trusted in God and I said, God, I don't have to be holy. I don't have to be, you know, so spiritual. However, whatever this is, it will pass, you know, and trust me, it just passed. It just gradually passed. And I just continue fighting. I said, well, whatever it is, I'm just going to fight. And I continue to just trust in God. And that's just how I go through.
And I just wanted to just say something there where you said you have your name written on gold. Just so you know, your name has been written on several magazines, several magazines and news. I've seen some of your interviews with several published magazines in the UK.
Yes,
and man, you have really done well for yourself. I have to say, you have really done well for yourself. And I just like the way you talked about, you know, that mentality, that shift, you know, even when, you know, life throws so many things at you, to just keep going and know that there's something at the end of the tunnel, you know. I really like that you said that, because sometime in my life, I also faced challenges like that. And it made me actually start to think that, you know what, I'm a failure. People were right. You know, just give up and, you know, just get back to what the normal people are doing, you know. But something inside you would always speak, you know, and just tell you that, listen, you can do this and keep going. Another thing that you mentioned there was the quick fix. And this is something I realized from another person who was I interviewed on this show. And he was saying that the worst thing that could happen, say, for example, you're going out for your dreams. The worst thing that can happen is that it doesn't work out. And then you can fall back on a job. You can always pick something to keep you going and then go after it a second time, you know? So some people just fear, and this, I'm speaking for myself now. So I used to always fear that, okay, if I go after my dreams, what am I giving up? You know, that thing I start to look at what that thing I'm giving up is, and I can always come back to it. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work out, I get a job. I figure stuff out. I figure out another plan. I look at it from another vantage point and move forward. So I really appreciate you sharing that. And it just reminded me of myself quite some time ago. But let me just let me just go into another question I have for you, Daniel. Now that you have this business, I can see that you've helped so many people now, because it's not about you anymore the way it seems. It's about helping other people, because I think I've seen on your Instagram, and for the record, I'm going to put your Instagram handle here at this point so that people can check it out. I've seen that you are actually training people on how to achieve the same level of success that you had. So
absolutely.
Now, what I want to ask you, what are the challenges you're facing now where you have people depending on you? And what were the challenges that you were facing when it was just you?
Well, I think one of the things we have to realize as human beings is that challenges are part of life. And for me, I'm somebody that I stretch myself. And because this is what successful people do. Successful people stretch themselves. If they get to their goal, they set another bigger goal.
Exactly.
All right. If they reach a bigger mountain, they look for another bigger mountain. And this is what successful people do. Look at Elon Musk. All right. He invested into PayPal. All right. And then he made a lot of money through PayPal.
Yeah.
And guess what? He then decided to take the money that he's made through PayPal and invested into what? Electric car. And today he's one of the world's richest. Is in fact the world richest, right? So that just goes to tell you that you have to have that mentality of setting and stretching yourself. I think for me, when I got started in property, as I said, I didn't have $5,000. I didn't have 10 grand because I've just suffered a major loss in my business in Nigeria. I started my property business in 2017. I literally started with less than £300. And then I leveraged on credit cards. Then I leveraged on some sales that was coming through in the end. And I started using the strategy called rent to rent, where you rent people's property and you rent out the property again and you pretend as if you're the landlord. With the landlord's permission, you sublet that property on a room by room basis. And that was where my journey started in the property industry. All right. So once I got to a place where in my year one, I turned zero into £80,000 plus revenue. And then the second year, I doubled whatever I made in year one. Year two, we turned over £107,000 in revenue. And I said, okay, well, I'm just going to continue to do what I was doing. But eventually what I did was I ended up documenting my journey. When I started from 2017, I was randomly posting stuff on my social media handle. In 2019, January, I got my very first ever speaking gig. I was invited to come and speak as the only guest speaker in that event. And when I got there and I shared my story, where I'd come from, a lot of people just thought I was just a guy, just it was a 9-to-5 job, and that happened. So when I shared my story, upon leaving that environment, people wanted to know more about me. People wanted to see what I do and how I can show them what to do, which I did. I started offering free coaching, free mentorship. Actually, I did not even know it was coaching. I didn't even know whether it was mentorship, because the truth was, I've never been in the corporate world before. Before 2017, I was never, ever, ever, ever. I've never been to a networking event. I've never been to a seminar. I've never been to a business conference. Never. I was just a normal African boy who just thinks that he can break cars into pieces, ship it down to Africa and sell. That was it. So when I started sharing this story and people got motivated by what I've done, because I was just glued to selling, making profit, paying my bills, and which is just the average business a lot of us do, especially Africans. So as I started sharing all these stories, people started reaching out to me. I decided to launch my own networking event. September 2019, I launched the Rent to Rent Property Network. And our first outing, we had over 60 people in attendance. And that changed the game. That changed the game because everyone who attended the event, these were all professional, young, black, white professionals. And coming to listen to a guy who didn't go to school here, coming to listen to a guy who didn't even really understand the culture that much in this country, because my very first, years that I lived in this country, I was just a guy hustling. When I mean hustling, I was buying cars, selling, carrying clothes, selling. So for me, that was my own idea of a business. Does that make sense? And as long as it pays the bill, and that was about it. So when I found out that people got motivated by this, and all of a sudden my leadership skill kicked in. People approached me in such a way where I discovered that I have a spirit to lead, and I have this leadership inside of me, and people paid attention. And people who left that first networking event within 2 weeks came back to me and said, Daniel, those things that you shared, actually, I tested it and it worked. So when that happened, I was just like, wow, okay. So if these people now are looking up to me, so I've got to sharpen up. Even the Bible says iron sharpeneth iron. So I have to sharpen up. All right. It gave me the reason to become more successful. It gave me the reason more to be heard. It gave me the reason more to be known. It gave me the reason more to wake up at night when I didn't feel like sleeping on my bed anymore, just to wake up, go to, sit somewhere and just maybe read a book or listen to something that will motivate my mind. And this was just how it started. So now one person is looking up to me, two people is looking up to me. All of a sudden, 50 people are looking up to me.
Wow.
I just kept challenging myself, I said, there is no going back. Then the vision came back that once upon a time, Daniel, you've told yourself your name will be written in gold. Now it's time for you to find that gold and start writing your name.
Man, now, you should write a book, man.
Yes, I'm already an author.
You're already an author?
Yeah, my book is getting released. My book is finally getting released in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
I've written a book, and the very first chapter of my book talks about mindset.
Wow. Now, I will get into mindset. That might probably be my next question. But you said something about you knew you had to sharpen up because, iron sharpens iron. What was that process that you had to go through to sharpen up? Was it just, getting mentorship or, studying books or reading? What was that process where you had to use to grow, so that you can actually lead others better?
Yeah. So, as I said before, when I started property, it started with networking, 𝗧𝗛𝗡𝗢𝗢. At that time, I was only invested in property training. All right. So when I discovered I had to sharpen up, I decided getting myself business coaches, mindset coaches. Right. I continued to feed up myself with positive books around, growth, around, influence, around speaking, around leadership. All right. I started attending conferences that focused on leaderships. So for me, it wasn't about property anymore. It was about strategic influencing through my skill set, which was, my new skill set, which was in property. So how can I not just teach people property, but however, teach them the mindset, the creative mindset around being a property investor? The truth is, if you go and see a medical doctor that is creative and you see a medical doctor that is medically corrected, they're two different people. A solicitor, a lawyer that is creative will win a case more than a solicitor that is not creative. Some people follow the law. They follow the structurized
the letter, yeah.
They follow the book to the letter, but the creative solicitor will win a better case. The same thing. If you have a headache and you've gone to the right doctor and he's prescribed, and you've gone back and you say you're having a headache, the non-creative doctor probably might not be creative enough to say, let me investigate this a bit further, or maybe let me try this or try this. Some doctor will say drink water and water. I'm just giving generic generic proverbs. So what I'm trying to say here, as a person as someone in business, so it was quite very important that I invested more into myself. I invested more into people I'm surrounded by. You know, it was also very, very important that I started building a circle. You know,
having like a close circle around you.
Yes, a good circle. You know, it automatically also meant that if I was making £100,000, I needed to now be friends with someone who's making £1 million. Because the guy who makes £1 million and the guys who make £100,000, they think differently. The guy who makes £10 million and the guy who makes £1 million, they think differently. But the truth is, the guy who makes £1 million, if he's got the ability to create £1 million, he's also got the tenacity and the ability to create a £10 million business. The difference between the £1 million guy and the £10 million guy, it's mindset. So I needed to do something more. So I started investing in myself more and more and more and more. And the more I invested in myself, trust me, even when I didn't even have the money, I remember taking my very first mentor in January last year, actually, my very first business coach, when I paid my fair £8,000 to my first business coach.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't have this money, but it was a credit facility. But trust me, it was the best money I've ever spent. So that just goes to tell you that, yes, in life, there are certain things that we want to do, but we need someone else's time that can advise us, somebody that we can use as a sounding board, somebody we can go to as an advisor. You know, I always like making, you know, references to going to the right person for the right advice. The problem why a lot of people get stuck where they are is because they keep going to the wrong people for the wrong advice. How would you go to someone who's never made £1 million and you're trying to make £1 million? You're going to seek them advice. How can I make £1 million? How can I turn my business to £1 million? He will give you all the wrong advices. But if you're going to someone that's made 10 million and you're trying to make $1 million, they're going to point you in the right direction because they made not just one, they made 2, 3, 4, and to 10. So that at that time, everything just started changing. I started stretching myself even more. I started looking and studying successful people. You know, I started, you know, following successful people. You know, looking how they talk, how they behave. Yeah, and you know, and this is how I just set that milestone that, okay, I can't be afraid of people being let down. So I can't be afraid of leading people. I can't be afraid of challenging myself to the role of leadership. However, to continue to sharpen up so that people can ask me more challenging questions so I can go and get more answers, you know, and to do more research. And that's just how the growth literally kicked in. And today I'm just so fortunate to be where I am.
Wow, Daniel, well said. I just, because you say so many things, sometimes things leave me, but I remember you said something about, you know, stretching yourself, like knowing, like, for example, you use the 10 million analogy. So if you want to earn $1 million, you go out to someone that has earned it or has earned more. It's something that I also noticed in my life. Every stage of my life that I have changed in maybe finances or growth, it's always due to the circle I have around me or the people that I have around me. The people that I had in my contact list or my what do you call it, speed dial list 4 years ago or 3 years ago are not the same that I have today. You know, the people that I have today, I'm kind of in that circle of people when it comes to, you know, mindset, finances. And now you're saying that if I want to stretch even further, I need to find people that are outside that circle and then actually be in their circle to learn from them and learn how to do the things that they've done.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Man, Daniel, that is actually some priceless nugget right there.
Absolutely.
So just tell me now, how much has your lifestyle changed? Like just maybe we can even talk about habits. So before you started your business and now that actually I don't even need to even go that far. Maybe when you started and now that you're, you know, kind of well developed in your business and well known, how has your lifestyle changed? Like maybe waking up or sleeping or reading, or what habits have you had to learn or lose in this period of time?
The thing is, in order for you to hold something new, you have to give something all the way. All right. So if I'm holding this bottle of water now, and this is the only hand that I have, for example, if I need to grab something new, I need to drop something new and pick up something else, right? So absolutely, in life, you've got to give away something to get something new. Way back, as a Nigerian, raised in the UK. Sorry, not raised in the UK. As a Nigerian raised in Nigeria, sorry, I meant. As a Nigerian raised in Nigeria, relocated here to the UK, we often, go to we often do so many big parties. We like to have fun all the time. So basically, every day is fun, and I loved it. But trust me, to get to where I want to go now, I had to completely eliminate fun for some time. I said, okay, I would have to cut off fun now, so I can have more fun later. I remember before now, if you invite me for any party hangout, I'm there. So in order for me to now wanted to get to where I need to go to, I had to say, oh, sorry, Tobe, I'm sorry, I can't come to your party. I'm sorry. It's hard to say, but it's the truth. I can't come to your party. Oh, why? Oh, just issues. I'll give another example. My phone used to ring all the time, and I had to pick every single call. Every single time my phone rang, I had to just pick it. And if somebody wanted to talk to me for 30 minutes, an hour, I'm there to talk. In order for me to get to where I want to go now, you can't just literally 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. My phone is consistently on do not disturb. So when you call me, it just rings. I don't pick. I call you when I want to call you. So I had to completely eliminate distraction. So I had to really break this down, because I don't know, I really had to break this down as a typical Nigerian. It's very important that when you're on your way up, you have to eliminate distraction. And one of the easiest distraction is, can we go out can we have a drink? There's a party on a Tuesday, there's a party on a Wednesday, let's hang out for a drink on a Thursday. Trust me, if you study a lot of wealthy people on their way to the come up, there were so many things they had to completely eliminate.
Sorry, go on.
On my way to my come up, my most expensive shirt, no word of a lie, is £25. I don't wear designer clothes. All right? There's so many things that you have to eliminate. So once you're where you are and you look like, you know what, I've actually achieved now, I'm good. Then you can do some certain things. Because you're already paying people to do stuff for you. So now you have enough time, you can actually afford the time that you didn't have. But even at that, most successful people, they literally have a plan of how their day runs like.
And it's just funny you say that, because I know, in as much as we almost know each other. For me to reach you, I know I sent you a DM, but it wasn't you that responded. I sent you an email, it wasn't you that responded. All through the times I've been trying to get an interview with you, this is the first time I'm actually speaking with you, and that's you choosing when you should speak with me. Do you understand? So I can see how you said that and how it is practically been executed with regards to how we've actually met today. So, I said, for me now, like, one of my biggest distractions is my phone. That one is, I don't even know how to even kill that one. I know that when I want to do some work, I have to put the phone away, and I know that, for example, for parties, it was difficult for me to cut it off. Now, let me just say, I still like parties, but I know that it's not necessary for me now, So when it comes to distractions, yes, I cut them off, but it's not like I hate them. I just cut them off because it's necessary that I cut them off because of where I'm going. So I'm really glad that you shared those two ones. And I might actually start doing the do not disturb on the phone, but it hasn't come to that yet. If my mom calls me for a day and I don't pick up, she will fly all the way here. Anyways, thank you so much, Daniel, for sharing that. But let me just jump on to my next question. And this is something I usually ask anyone that I interview here, and it's just about entrepreneurship. What does entrepreneurship mean to you? Personally, on a personal level, what does it mean to you?
For me, first of all, entrepreneurship, when people look at the outside, look at the word entrepreneurship from the outside, the first thing that happens is that people think, oh yeah, I can become an entrepreneur because it's my shortest shortcut to becoming wealthy. Many are called, few are chosen. The word entrepreneurship means no sleep when others are sleeping. No fun when others are having fun. Doing whatever it takes. Developing thick skin. All right? Being broke for some time to actually have the life that you deserve in future. Being an entrepreneurship is not an easy task. It's not an easy career. Many entrepreneurs are broke for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years that they should actually have in a job. So for you to actually become an entrepreneur, you must be prepared. So for me, entrepreneurship just means someone who made up their mind to do whatever it takes, regardless of their short winnings, their long winnings, whatever the case might be, somebody who would never give up. So I'll give you an example. I'll give you a very simple example. My entrepreneurship lifestyle, or literally my entrepreneurship mindset, started way back from 2000, and if I can remember, from 2004, 2005. And name it, I've sold anything possible to sell legitimately, from clothes to cars, from parts, you name it. Eventually having my breakthrough, absolute breakthrough, just in the last 4 years. If you look at that, in the past 17 years, or almost 17 years, I've been on this part of trying to discover what is that calling of the entrepreneurship in me that I needed to attain. So some people start this journey. Before actually saying this, Elon Musk that became the world's most richest today, his journey, nobody knew Elon Musk in 2009.
I didn't know.
Nobody knew him. Amazon, Jeff Bezos, nobody knew Jeff Bezos in 1999. But does that mean he's not been grinding since then? No, he has. He's had it in him. It's taken him almost 20 years
to get to where he is now.
So as an entrepreneur, you have to be ready to work hard.
Grind.
There is no shortcut to success. I always say this: if you want to become a true entrepreneur, read books that will build you. I see some people who are trying to get started in business. They go and start reading things like 4 hours. They start reading 4 hour week work.
I know that book. 4 hour work week. Yeah.
You're trying to get started in a business. You're already thinking about, you're reading books that are going to literally show you the shortcut. The truth is, when you start as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you're wearing all the hats. At least for the first maybe 2 years, at least 2 years. The very first 2, and that's the reason why most businesses fail within the very first 2 years. If your business don't fail within 2 years, then it goes to 4, then it goes to 5. If your business survives 4 and 5, that means you got your feet on the ground now. You're ready to rock and roll. So on a nutshell, the journey of being an entrepreneur, for me, the simple definition is a journey for the brave, not for the faint-hearted. So come ready.
I like that.
If the choice for anyone listening right now is aspiring to become an entrepreneur, just know that there are no days off. No Sunday, no Saturday, no weekends. Every day is a working day, at least for the first couple of years.
And another thing that you mentioned there, and it will lead into my next question is, and this is the prior question. You talked about having thick skin as an entrepreneur. Now, I know thick skin is so that you can handle negativity and handle rejections like that come with business, Now, as with every business, there would always be those disappointments, those people that will tell you yes, they are no tomorrow, people that tell you no. How do you manage disappointments and rejections in your business today?
Very easy question. I have chose not to be emotionally attached in anything that I do. I'm not emotionally attached to anything that I do.
What does it mean to not be emotionally attached? How do you get to that stage?
It's a mindset game.
Wow.
And this is me talking about developing a thick skin. How do you develop a thick skin? Hope for the worst before actually hoping for something to go right. So, for example, I give an example. I'm currently doing a development value in the region of 𝗂𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗘𝗡𝗢. And my worst case scenario is that should the worst happen, I'll make 𝗂700,000 pounds. Should the best case scenario, I'll make the 𝗂𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗘𝗡𝗢, or so 𝗂865,000 pounds, right? Now, having that mindset means that if I end up making 700 grand, I'm good.
Because you're ready for it.
Because I'm ready
yourself for it.
Also, I still do have my really, really worst case scenario. So which means if actually I end up making 600,000 pounds, well, not a problem. I'll accept it. Okay. But a situation whereby you're going into something and you're like, oh, okay, regardless of whatever happens, you're going to survive and you're going to win. And then when something lets you down, then you're in a place where you go through anxiety and depression. It's like losing 150,000 pounds in 2015. To me, I felt like it was finished. But again, I said, well, if I made 150,000 pounds business, if I grew nothing to something and the business became a 150,000 pound business and I lost it, the same mentality that I used to create 150,000 pounds, maybe I could even create more. I didn't even know that I was going to be able to create a 2 million pound business in 4 years after. So as of 2015, all I ever saw, all I ever made, all I ever created was a business up to the tune of 150. 2021, I have now created a business of over 2 million pounds. And not just a business of over 2 million pounds. I have actually created an entire business with a GDV up to 5 million. But wow. I'm just waiting for the 5 million part to manifest. So I don't really talk about it that much. It's like coming to meet you and asking you as my investor and say, can I have £1,000 investment? So I'm going to come like, okay, he may not. So when you say yes, I'll shake your hands and I'll say, thank you for believing in me. But if you say no, all right, it wasn't the right time. But how about if you came through and like, oh, regardless, I'm gonna have the investment from you. So when you then look around and tell me no and say no to me, I'm gonna be so angry. Oh, I did everything. It comes into a nag. Then it comes to from nagging into being upset. Oh, I can't believe I've been friends with this guy, and I only just asked him for £1,000 investment, and it becomes a strong emotional roller coaster. So nothing is guaranteed, but almost everything is guaranteed if applied correctly. And what do I mean by that? Always have two mindsets in whatever you do. All right? Hope for the best, at the same time, hope for the worst. So you can protect your emotion. So with the analogies that I've given, I hope it kind of illustrates what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
Don't be emotionally involved. So it's like, driving a car thinking that your car will never have a fault every day. And also thinking, well, actually, my car could break down tomorrow. So if your car does break down, all you just do is to fix it. Because you already know it's a car. One day it will be broken down.
I like you break things down very simple, and it kind of is easier to digest, I suppose. But One thing that I like, for maybe you can answer this for me now. One thing that I have struggled with, especially when I started my entrepreneurship journey earlier on, was just understanding the way to, separate yourself from your business, knowing that your business is its own entity and yourself is your own entity. Like you yourself and your business, they're not one thing. So your business operating negatively doesn't mean that you are a bad person or you're not. I don't know how to put it well, but it's just in a way to say that, say I might be in a good state right now. I'm happy. I'm good, but my business is bad. Do you understand? Do you see where I'm coming from? I don't know if I'm trying to explain well, but because I hear so many people talk about this, separate yourself from your business. And now you've mentioned about, having two mindsets, having a mindset that, okay, things could go well, and having the mindset that things could go bad, and just preparing yourself for whatever could happen. Do you think that, that does that work well? Do you think that will work well in everybody's case?
I'll give an example.
Yeah.
A lot of people always worry about what they don't have control over. I'll give an example. A very simple example is COVID. A very simple example is COVID and lockdown.
Yeah.
COVID is something that just came like within a twinkle of an eye.
Exactly.
All right. And then all of a sudden, America says lockdown. Europe says lockdown. Africa says lockdown. And all of a sudden, we are in a lockdown. And you saw people depressed about lockdown because they didn't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. So this is how I will approach a situation like this. So now government says I can't travel. Government says I can't leave my house. If I leave my house, I'll be arrested. I could be fined. Or I'm not just living by an example. And I said, okay, no problem. How else can I make myself comfortable? And I did everything that I could to look after my mental state. Now, a lot of people, there are people who literally for the last 1 year, everything they talk about is, they swear at lockdown, they swear in the government, they're just worried about, you don't have control of it. Move on.
Makes sense.
Just
now you've made that shift, that light bulb in my head.
Move on. I became a portfolio millionaire through this lockdown.
Actually, yeah, many people have actually, had successful businesses because of lockdown. I've noticed.
I built, in the last 12 months, I built a property portfolio to the tune of over 1.4 million pounds. Obviously, it's not my money I used. It's all borrowed funds. Okay, it's all borrowed funds to create it. All right. But in the end, I created it. You can't get wealthy without using funds. You can't without borrowing money. But obviously, your ability to understand good debt and bad debt is key, which is something I'm very good at. Over the last 4 years, I'm someone who created what I have now with people's money, with the bank's money. But the debt is paying itself. And soon, the debt will clear out itself and I have cash flow. I have credit. I have cash credit, not debit. So don't worry about what you don't have control of. I could have folded my hands. I was at the beginning of starting my education business. In this lockdown, February 22nd or February 23rd, last year, I launched Property Wealth Education. And when Property Wealth Education started, we probably at that time, we wasn't running as a business, but we were running through our other company. But through this lockdown, we've educated over 100 people.
Wow. And
out of the 100 people that we've educated, all right, over a certain percentage of individuals have ascertained success. One of our biggest students during this course of lockdown grew his business from zero to 100,000 pounds. From zero, he started, no property experience, no idea, literally, he didn't know his left from his right on how to start a business, property business. And he came out 12 months later, April 2021, he has had a turnover of over 100,000 pounds in his business.
Wow.
So one of the things I said to him at that time, just get started. Focus on winning and focus on what if I actually succeed? That is the mentality that I used to do. So in as much as I was thinking about what if the worst happened, but actually, hold on a minute. What if I actually win? What if I actually write my name on gold? What if I actually become a multi-billionaire? But a lot of people focus on what if I lose all the money.
Exactly.
Not do it because
exactly.
And that is how the world currently, the 90% of this world it's not poor, but you have poor, you have the average, and then you have the middle class. And so you have the upper class within the 5%, and then you have the super wealthy within the 1%.
Wow. I noticed that you have a 10x sign behind you. So that means that definitely Grant Cardone is one of your big mentors. Do you have any other
10x?
Do you have any other mentors that you follow? Just asking because people like me, we get nosy when we find someone that we admire. So I don't know. Do you have any other mentors that you follow, or any mentors that you follow, or any books that you recommend, especially around the topic of mindset?
Well, at the moment, I've got two mentors. One of them is Grant Cardone, and the second is Adam Stoltz. He's my business coach and mentor. And Adam Stoltz is a Forbes Council speaker, and he's sold over 70 million on social media. And he's got his own podcast, which I've been featured on his podcast as well. So he's currently my personal mentor. He's based in London, and I've got Grant in the US. Over this last 2 weekends, I was with Grant for 3 days on his interactive boot camp. The 2 weeks before, I was on his 10X Growth Conference. And in May, I'm actually going to be starting my mentorship with him as well. It's called the 360 mentorship. So I'm going to be doing that as well. So yeah, I've got these two individuals who have mentored me. I've had several mentors in the past.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, I just keep going.
Nice. What of books? Are there any books that you've read that have really stood out to you, especially that have helped you in your growth towards achieving what you have now?
Well, one book that has really made impact in my life is 10X Rule. 10X Rule by Grant Cardone has really made a huge impact in my life. And also How to Think Like a Billionaire is another book. It's a Christian book written for business owners. It just goes to tell you the principles of how one can actually using your mind to attract wealth. And also The Secret is another series I've watched again on Netflix. And The Secret again just helps you understand the power of the law of attraction. If you say you're going to fail, you will fail. If you say you're going to win, you will win. No matter what you choose to do, the universe will deliver it to your doorstep. So these are, the books or series I can obviously recommend for anyone watching right now. I never used to read a book until 4 years ago.
Yeah,
I never was a reader.
Are you now do you force yourself to read, or do you enjoy it now?
I enjoy it now. I try to read a chapter a day. Yeah, I just try to read it from any book. So I could probably read 2-3 books at the same time, but I just try to read a chapter of a book in a day. So a chapter can be maybe 4 pages or 5 pages, whatever it is. Read about 3 pages in the morning. First thing I do when I wake up in the morning is grab my book for 3 pages, and then before going to bed, while actually in bed, read another 3-4 pages. And
that's actually something that really stands out now that I didn't. Yeah. So do you have this? I digress though, but I just want to ask: do you have like a morning routine that you follow that helps you now?
Absolutely, yes, I do. In the morning, I wake up at 6 a.m. Then I grab my book from 6 a.m. to 6:30 while I'm still in bed. Sit up a little bit, and then for 30 minutes and just kind of reflect. As soon as I do that, jump out of my bed at 6:30 and get ready for running. So I run about 5K every day, Monday to Friday. And now that the gyms are open, so I usually get up at 6:30, get ready for the gym. I hit the gym by 7, finish gym at 7:30, back home start my first meeting in the morning with my business partner at 8:30 a.m. And then, yeah, that's just me starting my day.
Nice. That's a killer day. Like that's one hell of a day. There's this book on, I can't remember the name of the book. Something about how to have a successful morning. I can't remember. Probably I'll put the link on the description, but it does have some similarities with what you said there. Anyways, Daniel, we're running towards the end of this session, and I want to just say you've been amazing so far. You've been, the nuggets that you've dropped here with the examples, you've been hitting the nail hard on the head. I just want to talk about, maybe you can share some of the mistakes that you've made in the business. I don't know, maybe you've made several mistakes, but just the ones that stand out to you that you've made in your business so far.
Well, for me, I think the biggest mistakes I made was before 2017. And I didn't understand business. Before 2017, I really didn't understand business. Even though I grew a business to the tune of £150,000, I didn't understand the importance of having a mentor, the importance of getting educated, not getting educated to get a degree, a business degree, but actually getting yourself educated and investing into seminars, trainings, conferences, and obviously getting a mentor. And those were the massive mistakes that I made. No wonder I never grew a business above 150. And now I have been able to grow a business to the tune of, £2 million, and I'm just getting started.
Nice. So I suppose my last question is, what would you tell your 17-year-old self? Now, I think your son is 16, you said. 13, sorry, my mistake. Now, I'm sure he's watching a lot from what you're doing. What would you advise, let's just say yourself at 17-year-old, if you could think back to when you were 17-year-old, what would you say to yourself, if you could right now?
Well, one of the things that I teach my son every single day is discipline. I teach him discipline in all ramifications. That's number one. And number two, I teach my son, if you say you're going to do something, do it. So I teach him to be a man of his word. And lastly, one of the things I'm teaching my son is money.
That's what Grant Cardone teaches his daughter that as well. I see.
Absolutely. I'm teaching my son about money. So the other day, my son asked me, he looked in my bank account and he saw about £5,000 in one of my accounts. And he said, "Daddy, how come you have all this money and you can't, I need you to give me £100 to go and buy stuff. Yeah. And you're not giving it to me." I said, "Well, what are you going to do with the £100? He said he wanted to, buy sweets. He wanted to buy some things. And I said, "No, I won't give it to you." I said, "Think again." And he said, "Well, actually, Dad, I don't want £100. Actually, I want £700. I said, "So what are you going to do with £700? He said to me, because Dad, as you know, because he's currently doing a few training on YouTube. So he said, "I need a bigger screen. I need another screen. I need a bigger screen and I need a separate screen in order for me to create more content." I said, "What kind of content? What are you going to talk about?" First, he said he's trying to create content on gaming, all right, so he can monetize them. And secondly, he's going to also share that he's a property entrepreneur. And I said, "What do you know about being a property entrepreneur?" And he broke down a few step by step about what I do. When he said this thing to me, I smiled because at first he wanted to buy sweets. And I said, "Think again." And then he told me he needs to buy 2 screens because I have 3 screens in my office, laptop and on my TV screen, and plus the screen I'm using to talk to you now. And he said, because you see how I do my stuff professionally, so he wanted to be able to create and do things professionally. And I smiled. I said, "Okay, no problem. You have it for your birthday." All right. And eventually I got him 2 screens. So that just goes to tell you that, for him to start creating content around gaming, which I never knew, he's educating me now being a professional gamer. and how that can be monetized. And I've seen a lot of his content, and I'm like, okay. And also, he's talking about
maybe I'll have him on the show.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's amazing. I think it's very interesting. I know I don't know how that would feel because I'm not a dad yet, but I think that would make you proud for your son to say that. Honestly, I think that would make you really proud. And I mean, well done, Daniel. You've done really, really amazing on the show. My last thing is just I know a lot of people might just have questions, especially around property, because I know we didn't talk about property much here. About how to even get into property investment. This guy is not a hard guy to find, guys. Okay, but what's the best way for people to get in touch with you if property is something that they're thinking about, or if they just have any business questions that they feel that you might have the answer to?
Well, if anyone is looking to to reach out to me, it can go to my website. It's www.danielmosesdm.com. So I'll repeat again, www.danielmosesdm.com.
I'll put that on the link.
Yeah, so reach out to me on there, and it's got all my social media handles, from my Instagram to my LinkedIn to my Facebook. It's literally got all the links, and you can get to just know me. You can get to read about me specifically, where it all started from, and my journey, and just get to know about me in general.
Perfect. I'll put all those links on the description, guys. But Daniel, thank you so much. You've been amazing today, and honestly, I don't even have the words to say how appreciative I am for you making the time to actually come here and just share your knowledge. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I don't know, is there anything else you'd like to leave us with before we hang up?
Yeah. Well, there's something I always like to share. I always say to everyone who follows me on social media that just always remember that you've got greatness within you. And no matter what you're going through right now, there is a better version of yourself. And the reason why I say that is because if someone would tell me, Daniel Moses, in 2017, that I could build the business that I have today, I would never believe it. So that just goes to tell you that when life knocks you down, land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up, you can do it again. So go out there, smash it. Impossibility is nothing. You've got what it takes to succeed and to be the better version of you. And I hope that makes sense.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Daniel. All the best now. Take care.
Thank you, sir.